So to start with, Excel automation can be done in two different ways. All right, and these two different ways are like you can open an Excel sheet and then you can start working upon it. You can scrape the data from Excel sheet. You can put some data into Excel sheet. So for that, the very first option is Excel application scope. If you want to note down somewhere, you can note it down. We can handle Excel automation in two different ways. One is Excel application scope. So Excel application scope is an activity which will open the Excel sheet and then further action we want to perform on Excel. Suppose if it is reading some data from Excel, or suppose if it is writing some data on Excel, we can do that using Excel application scope. But remember, it's going to take more time than the another option. Another option is using workbook activities. So workbook activities are the activities where you need not to have Excel application or MS Office suite installed on your machine. Even if you have a uh, uh, XLX file available on your machine, you can work on it. You need not to have Excel application installed. It will not open the Excel sheet. It will fetch the data without opening Excel sheet, and it will, if you want to drop some data into an Excel sheet, if you want to populate an Excel sheet with some data, then also it will be performed without opening it. All right. So this comes under the two categories. Is it clear? One is Excel application scope. Second is workbook activity. Workbook will not open Excel file. It will just perform the operations in the background at the backend. Oh, but the basic thing you need to do here is to make sure here is workbook will only work with XLXS files, the files with having extension as XLSX. All right. But if you want to read the file having XLS extension as well, for that you need to install the Excel application or MS Office suite. Then you can use Excel application scope and then you can work upon it. We are going to practice this Excel automation today. All right. So quickly, let's start. I'll just share. For that also we have option. We can use it using Excel application scope, the very first category where we need to open the Excel sheet and then we have to perform it.
Okay, thank you.
Right. We are going to discuss that. Do you have any Excel file or sorry, a macro recorded or macro created on your machine? Okay, I want you to create this file in your machine with three headers: name, subject, and present, and you can put any dummy data inside it. 4 or 5 rows will work. Once you create this file, just save it and remember where you have saved it. These three headers are important: name, subject, and present. They should be same, but you can put any data inside it, any data inside these three under these headers. Or what I'll do, I'll quickly create a sheet here so that I can, because I'm unable to share these sheets. So you can open this spreadsheet on your machine so that you can just copy paste whatever the sheet I'll share here. You can just copy paste it from here and create your own sheet on your local machine, on your machine. I'll drop it here. Here I need to select the file which I have created. So that file is with the name dummy3, I guess. Yes, demo3. Okay, you can also do it along with me. Demo3 is the file name. I have clicked on it, and now here we can see some options: edit password, workbook path we have given here. Create if does not exist. So suppose if you want to create a new file, if it doesn't exist, then you can check this checkbox. Instance cache period. So 3000 is the instance cache period, and macro settings are enabled. Read only. No, you don't want to open this file in the read only mode. You want to apply some changes into it. Save changes will save the changes automatically. Visible means while performing the actions, it will be visible to you. Output will be if you want to create a variable where you want to save the output of this file, then you can do that. And here you can specify if you have some existing workbook. Quickly, let's move to the next step where we will be creating a variable. Just I'll take another activity, read range, to read data from this Excel sheet. Now, pay your attention here. Read range can be seen in two different categories. One is Excel, another one is workbook. Because we have started with Excel application scope, that means we are working on the very first category where Excel needs to be opened. So whenever you use Excel application scope, you will never use Excel workbook activities, this workbook activities. All right. So you have to always go with read range from Excel. All right. So I'll drop it here. This means the sheet which I want to read. So let me check the sheet name first. So the name of sheet is sheet 1. I'll specify the same in my read range activity, and here I can specify the range. So if this is null or if it is double quotes without any value here, that means it will read each and every cell of the Excel sheet which you have provided. All right. If you specify, or if you want to specify some range like A1 to C18 or A or B2 to K11, anything if you want to specify, you can specify it, but it is always recommended because Excel sheet may you may add some more data later on that in that sheet. That means you always keep it null. All right. Read range can be used using null range. That means double quotes without any value in it. Here I'll create a output data table by pressing Control K, and after pressing Control K, I'll say it V Excel output, and I'll press enter. Now the new variable is created, and in this variable, the data which is read from this Excel sheet, which I have taken as an input, will be stored. Now what I'll do is I'll drag and drop another activity called output data table, which will convert the input data table into the text which I can display on in the message box. So data table cannot be displayed in the message box because data table only strings can be displayed in the message box, that we have learned earlier also. So here I'll call the variable which I have created in the read range activity, and here I'll specify the output VSTR. Sorry, I'll have to create this. I'll press Control K and VSTR Excel output. So this is my new variable which will be created or which will be populated when this output data table will convert the data table variable into the text document or text variable or string variable, string type of variable. If you want to check, you can check it from here. So VXL output is the data table variable type of variable, and VSTR Excel output is the string type of variable. Now quickly I'll take a message box to display the output so that we can understand what is read from the Excel file. So which variable should I call here? VXL output? No. VXL output is the variable of data type data table, right? And I have clearly mentioned that data table cannot be displayed using message box. We can display only string type of data values in the message box. We always convert it using toString, right? Suppose we want to display any integer. Suppose if we want to see integer in the message box, we always write .toString with it, right? That's so that we can convert it into string and then we can get the output, right? That is why we have used this activity called output data table to convert it from data table to string. So we will be using this variable, and once I'll execute this, it's gonna give me result in the message box. These are the headers and this is the data. All right. Now, if I want, I can call this variable or the data table variable anywhere to put this data in some other Excel sheet or anywhere else wherever I want to put it. Another option which is available here is, suppose I want to perform the same thing without opening Excel sheet, then how would I do it? I'll say it Excel 2. Without opening it, how would I do it? I will drag and drop read range directly from workbook. Read range from workbook, I'll drag and drop. I'll give the path of that same Excel sheet demo3. Make sure you have closed that file before you execute this. I'll say save. And here I'll specify the null range. Instead of A1 to A2, I'll say only blank double quotes. After that, I'll take output data table. And in read range, I have forgot to specify the variable in which the data table will be stored. So I'll say it v excel output. And I'll say enter. And here we take it as an input v excel output. And here we'll specify the string type of I'll press Ctrl K here and vstr. str means string. Now quickly I'll take a message box to display the output. I do not need to open the Excel sheet. It will perform this action without opening Excel sheet. All right. So I'll just quickly call the variable vstr Excel out. Once I'll execute it. So without opening Excel, can you see anywhere Excel is open? No. Without opening that Excel sheet, it has performed this action, that too quicker than the previous one. All right. So both the things we can perform in the same thing we can perform with both the options. One is without opening Excel, one is after opening Excel. Quickly practice these two and create these two workflows so that we can learn another activity. So let's start the next topic. And the next topic is let us practice how we can read data from Excel and how we can put it into some web application or any other application. So for that, I need this file to be copied. So I hope you have got the access to the sheet which I have shared. I have shared a URL with you all, right? Should I send it again? No worries, I'll send it again in the chat. You can copy paste the data from sheet 1, the data where we have name, mobile number, organization name, and details like that. I'll just show you that sheet so that you can understand which sheet is to be copied and you have to create on your machine. So this is the sheet which you have to copy: name, mobile number, organization, and mail ID. You can copy this data and you have to paste this data in an Excel sheet on your machine. Try to do it quickly. And once you are ready with that, you have to post it in the chat so that we can. Okay. Now again we are moving to UiPath Studio, and here we are going to create another sequence and we'll name it Google Form Fill. All right. Along with this Excel sheet, one more thing you'll need here is this form link. I'll just share this form link with you. So I have created this dummy form, or you can say dummy application, or dummy dashboard where you have to enter few data. All right. Just for the practice, I have created this Google form so that you can use it for entering some data which you have copied from Excel. So now you have both the files. One is Excel file and another one is Google Form link. I'll open this form in the background. I'll go to UiPath Studio. Right. So first of all, the very first activity we need here is read range activity. Now I'll drag and drop read range from workbook category. Workbook read range I'll drag and drop here. I'll locate that file, the file which I have created recently. All right. So that file is Google Form Fill, and I'll specify the range. Here the range should be kept null, and here I'll specify the variable. The read range activity we have dragged and dropped from the workbook activities, and this workbook activities we have practiced it in previous 2 or 3 activities, also previous 2 or 3 use cases also. So I'm not doing anything different. I have dragged and dropped read range activity, and I have given the file path here using this folder option, specified the range as null range, and I'm creating a variable here which will be my output variable. So I'll name it v Excel out, and after this I'll take a for each loop. So this for each row will be taken as the next activity, and here I'll specify the variable which I have created of data table type. After doing this, in the body of for each, I'll drag and drop four type intos. I'll search for type into. So type into is one of the activity which is used to indicate the particular UI element, and we can use we can type any text using this activity. So I have to drop total 4 type intos for 4 fields in my Google form, and the 4 fields are name, mobile number, organization name, and mail ID. So I'll just rename these type intos by right clicking it, name, and what else we have, mobile number. I'm just changing the name of this activity just to make you understand that which type into I'm working upon. Then we have organization name, and fourth we have email. All right, after doing this, I'll indicate these elements, name through this indicate on screen, mobile number through this. So how I can indicate? Already I have opened that file in the background, and once I click on indicate on screen, I have to indicate this text box where I want to perform this type into action. All right, so I have clicked here. It has identified where it has to type the text, and the text which is to be typed here is, which row should be typed here? Row 0 dot to string. Very similarly, we have to type row 1, row 2, row 3, and mobile number I have to indicate this field, organization I have to indicate this field, and email I have to indicate this field. Now I have already covered the Google Form entry part. Now I have to perform click action on submit button. So I'll choose a click activity from here. You will find it in the mouse, under the mouse. You have 2 options here, click and double click. You have to just drag and drop click from there, and you have to drop it at the last inside the body of for each, because we are doing these things in the loop. Indicate on screen, you have to indicate this submit form or submit button, and I'll tell you the logic what I'm doing here. So after putting some entries manually, I'll say submit button, but after pressing submit button, automatically the form will not get opened again. So I have to record this button also, submit another response. I have to perform one more click here. So I'll take one more click activity inside the loop. Again, I'll indicate this particular button, and that is how I'll reach to. So manually I'll show you. Suppose if I click here, again that form will open in front of you, and again for next row it will start entering the data. All right, so I'm done with the workflow creation. Now I'll execute it. I have to first close this. Okay, so it has started entering the data one by one. So because 4 is not present there, it has not taken it. I have to again refresh that page so that I can start from scratch and with a fresh form. So this workflow will work for 5 rows or 50 rows or 500 rows or 5,000 rows, any number of rows it will work. And you can, because you have created this workflow in such a way that you have not hard coded this workflow. So this workflow will work for any number of rows. You can even add it at the runtime, or you can add it even after creation of this workflow. All right, so it is doing it for all the rows one by one, because we have taken for each loop, and in for each loop, for every row it is performing this action. Seems like magic. All right, so I just stop the execution. All right, so execution is automatically completed. So I hope you remember. Again, I'm telling you the sequence. You have to take read range from workbook, specify the file name which you have created, and range for each row. And then you have to take that variable which is created in read range here, so that you can iterate through each row of that data table. Inside the body, you have to drag and drop 4 type into activities. If you want to rename them, you can rename them, or you can take it as it is. So it will show you type into name here. Indicate using a button which asks you to indicate the element, UI element, where you want to enter the. Do not select this particular field. You have to select this field where the text is to be submitted. All right, you have to select this field, not this name. Okay, when you are indicating the element to perform type into action, you have to select this text box. Okay, after doing four type intos, you have to take one click activity and you have to indicate submit button like this. And after putting some dummy data, when you submit this form, you have to record this submit another response button also using one more click activity like this. And like this, you have completed your workflow, and you can execute it by just giving a fresh form to this application, to this workflow. All right, guys, can you please respond? Okay, so the next topic which we are going to discuss is selectors. Let me first introduce what are selectors and how where we have to use selectors. So the very first thing you must understand about selectors is selector is something which help you to reach to that UI element where you want to perform certain action. See, in the Google form which we have seen recently in this use case, the fields of that web application were static. They were not changing its position. They were on the same position. They were on the same location. They were with the same color, with the same font. Everything was same. That is why you are able to indicate them and to put some. We have typed some text into it by because the fields were static. The UI elements were static. But there are certain scenarios where the UI elements keeps on changing their position or keeps on changing their color or any other property they keeps on changing. I'll show you an example where you'll realize that this simple type into activity will not work. Give me a moment. I'll just open that URL for you so that you can understand what I'm talking about. All right. So I hope you can see my screen now. And on that screen, I have a web application or a survey form kind of thing where if I'll enter some text for the very first time and if I'll say submit, the fields are changing. Again, I'll say submit, fields are changing. So the number of time I'll press the submit button, this form will change its template. Everything will, the field will get changed, sequence will get changed, and you have to maintain you have to check which particular field is coming first and which particular field is coming last, and depending on that you have to enter the text. This is what we call dynamic web pages, where the fields are getting changed after every visit or after clicking any button, any UI element. All right, but few things which you should remember here is the submit button is changing its position, but we have only single submit button here, but we have total 7 text boxes here where we have to enter the text. So the goal of this challenge is to create the workflow that will input data from a spreadsheet into the form fields on the screen. So first of all, I'll share this URL with you so that you can open that URL on your machine. All right. Once you open it, you have to click on download Excel, which will give you a sheet which will give you a sheet with name challenge. So I'll show you that sheet, which sheet will be downloaded. So here we have only 7 text boxes to be filled with name, first name, last name, company name, role in company, organization name, and something like that. We have 7 text fields, which are very similar. They have same property. They are all text boxes, but we have to differentiate it on the basis of text which is written over it. All right. So how manually we are going to do that? Suppose if I want to copy the text from here and I want to manually enter in this form, what I'll do? I'll read this text, right? I'll read this text and then I'll perform this actions, correct? Another activity which we have already discussed, that is anchor based activity. How many of you remember that? We have discussed anchor based activity when we were discussing about PDF. So here, if we choose that text which is written over the text box, rolling company, address, last name, company name, if we consider this as our anchor, and if we perform type into actions in the text boxes, suppose if we, I'll just open the anchor based activity. So now in anchor, suppose I have dragged and drop anchor based activity, I'll get two options. One is anchor, another one is drop action activity here. So to identify the anchor, which activity I have dropped in the previous sequence when we were practicing anchor based activity, which activity we have dropped on anchor. So this find element will go and search for this text, and here we have to type. Here we have to take type into. All right. So this type into will be dropped here. I can type anything in double quotes so that it can be copied. A, B, C, I'll type just. And suppose if I'll execute this, I forgot to indicate a text box. I think now it will work. Okay, so if you will create a complete workflow with anchor base, it is going to work, because here find element will find the text which is written over that text box, and this indicate on screen will indicate that text box where the text is to be written, like this. And the text which is to be written here will be same as row 1, row 0, row 1, row 2, row 3, row 5. You have to read it from the Excel sheet which you have downloaded. So in this case, in the example of RPA challenge, you have to download sheet from here, from the cloud. Once you download it from here, that sheet is to be read, and using for each loop, you will iterate through each row of that Excel sheet. All right. And inside body, you will drop seven anchor based activities, like this. And left hand side, you will drop find element, and on the right hand side, you will drop type into. You also have to change the anchor position, which is on the top. So this role in company is written on the top, and on the bottom we have this text box. First of all, you have to use this read range. Here you have to specify the file, that is challenge file, this one. All right. Everything will remain same here. This will also remain same here. And in this, instead of these type intos, you can take anchor based activity, or if you are using, I'll again tell you another thing, another option of doing this. So this is one of the option using anchor based activity. All right. If the fields are dynamic, you can read, because manually how you are doing it, you are reading that text. If you find that text, suppose company name or first name or last name, depending on that text, you are performing the action, right? So suppose if I am using anchor based activity, what anchor based activity is doing, it will find the element. So the element it is finding is role in company, and in the same text box which is beneath that role in company, it will perform the action. It will paste the cell, it will paste the row which I want to paste here. So role in company is on which position? 1, 2, sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3. So third row 3 will be pasted. Row 3 dot string should be entered here, right? I should write it like ROW and in brackets 3 dot to string. All right, like this. So you have to do it for all 7 fields. Once you are able to do it, you will get the output. Another option of doing the same thing is using selectors. So how you can use selectors for performing this kind of action? Please observe very carefully. I'm using this right side button.
I'm using open in UI Explorer. Once I once this window will open in front of me, I'll say indicate element. So I have to open that RPA challenge page in the background. Now I'll indicate the element. So which element I should indicate first? Because I'm starting with the first name. I'll indicate this element, this text box. Once I get this text box, it will populate the properties of text box here. You can see on the left hand side there are certain properties of text box. Now it's a challenge here to find out the property which is not changing. Suppose if you can see the ID on the right top corner, if you can see the ID is LJYK. All right. TID, you can see it is 8112. We have another thing. PID is 8804. We have NG reflect name, label first name. Now what I'm doing, I'm refreshing or I'm refreshing this page, and again I can see again I'll target that same element using UI Explorer. Indicate element, first name. Now let's see how many fields got changed. So the very first thing, ID is changed. Now the ID is something different. All right. PID 8804 is same, right? NG reflect name, label first name is same. TID is also same. So we have found three different properties which are not changing. So we can choose either of them as a selector, which will take us to that UI element every time because these properties are not changing. But we have to deselect the properties which are confusing us, or which are creating some ambiguity. So the very first thing what you should do here is you should deselect this. You should uncheck this ID, because if you'll consider ID as a selector, then it will confuse you. It will confuse your bot, and it will not allow you to enter the text in the desired UI element. Second important thing, you have to remove IDX, which is index. Index is something which will only tell you about the current position of that UI element. If you will go through this page, first name is on the third position, 0, 1, 2, and 3 position. That is why it is giving you 3. And deleting this, you can take UID, TID, or NG reflect name. So the option which is easy to understand is NG reflect name. So instead of the text, instead of the IDX, I'll write NG hyphen reflect hyphen name equals to label, and this should be kept inside single quote. All right. So after making these changes in the selector, what we will do, I'll say validate. If it is validated, I'll click on highlight and check whether the same text box is getting selected or not, which I want to select. I'll click highlight. Yes, the first name text box is getting selected. I'll disable this highlight button, and I'll click on save. This is how I have to do for all 7 entries. All right. So this will enter row 0 here. So I'll just execute and show you how it is working. It will find out the first name. Okay, I have forgot to close the sheet. See, it has found this field and it has entered first name. All right. So like this, we have to do it for. You can either take type into activities and you can configure it with selectors, or you can take anchor based activity for all 7 fields. I hope you got the logic. The two different ways to enter text into these dynamic UI elements. And about the anchor base, you are using the code the script which is written to design the page UI element, and out of multiple selectors, out of multiple properties, you are choosing one of the property which is not keeps on changing when you press submit button, and you are keeping it as a selector, and then you are performing that type into action.